from the shop, folks. Got a pretty quick, hopefully easy project here today. Not actually in the shop, it's gorgeous out here. And what we're gonna do is get ready for winter, and it's time to make our firewood storage. Yeah, so under here is where we've been keeping our firewood. So I want it a little more permanent, and I want to cover so we can get rid of this nasty thing here. So just a little lean-to to be able to hold 2 layers, a stack here and a stack in front of it. I have plenty of room over here to work with. So that's the plan. A little bit sketched out, shouldn't be too hard. Hopefully knock this out pretty quickly. So here's just kind of a quick sketch. Platform, and then this little lean-to with a lip on the front. Some risers, some supports, and we'll kind of build that structure as necessary. And just a platform to sit it on. And the platform, which is kind of drawn from an overhead view here, is just simply 4, I think this is probably the way it'll go, 4 2x4s, 8 feet long, some bracing in the middle, a cap on the end, and they're basically going to be 32 inches end to end, 12 inches end to end for the sections of 2x4 with 4 inches in between. And that way the actual logs, these little kind of dashed segments, will overlap the edges 2 inches on each side if you're using, say, 18-inch logs, and they're still overlap if you're using 16-inch. So it's easy to grab, you're not kind of restricted, and there's airflow. None of this is kind of going to be standing in water. There's going to be plenty of airflow to dry. So this is the quick, simple plan. You can see a project on the other side of the piece of paper that I am also working on, but that's for a later time. Right now, this hopefully one-day project, kind of like Adam Savage, I guess. So let's get everything unloaded and get this wood pile moved, because I want to put it here, and time to get to work. So here's what we were working with, made of just scraps that we had laying around, things that came from previous places that we lived, and old projects. So pretty simple, not a whole lot to it. It's probably gonna be fun getting these out of the ground. One. If anybody knows a better way to do these things, I've not found any good ways. So if you know a better way, let me know how to do it correctly, because these are always fun. So I'll spare you. I'll get the other 3 out and get to building. Okay, that was the hard part, getting that cleaned up. This should go pretty quickly. Cut one of these 2x4s, 8 foot, cut 2 32-inch sections. That'll make our frame, and once we get to do that, we'll lay our frame out and then just build it up right in place, minimal measuring, make it work where it sits. So a few things. One, I haven't framed out housing since high school and college, but grew up doing construction, grew up doing insurance, fire jobs, all kinds of stuff with Dad. But 8-foot boards aren't 8 foot anymore. So if you're using 8-foot boards, you have to cut them to 8 feet. That's good to know. And anyway, this one's short by almost ½ an inch. So I've pulled that one out, put one of these other ones in, even though that's one of my straight boards. It's just ½ an inch short. That's awesome. And these tape measures, I can't find a single good one. Everybody says this Stanley Fat Max, oh, they're great. Well, you saw it. It's sitting there unlocked, not locked, nothing, no buttons to push, not retracting. Anyway, a little annoying rant. Whatever. It measures, but that's about it. All right, let's replace this one and then keep moving on. And this actually wound up pretty square, 104.5, almost directly from corner to corner. Anyway, let us get to cutting. 9. Okay folks, let's get going with day 2 of the 1-day build, because yeah, that's how it always goes. So last night I tore apart the old little 4x4 foundation that was sitting here, cut up some lengths and dug those in a little bit so that we are somewhat level on our platform, and it should support the wood and settle in just fine as we put the firewood on it. So now I want to build up the little risers, little lean-to roof, nothing fancy, pretty simple there. But I do want to cut the 2x4s in half. I don't want to use the whole 2x4, seems wasteful and oversized. So in the vein of someone like Zoffinger, just split it down the middle, and instead of using the 3.5, we'll use half of that, because I do want 2 risers for each little section of wood so that you're not supporting the block of wood from the center where maybe it could twist out as you go to your stacking. So anyway, so it'll be 4 along the sides, a little cap, and then we'll use some fence boards as the shingles. Okay, with more trouble than it should have taken, we now have all 4 of the uprights on each side, and they're cut at this nice little slope down towards the back. Didn't do any major figuring. I just knew down here I wanted 55 inches or so, and up here I wanted about 60 so you could reach in and stack the firewood and get it out without hitting your head. And so I knew those measurements, and then just put a straight edge across the 2 once those were cut, and figured out where we lied across here. Didn't have to do any trigonometry or anything, just figured that, cut it, and put them on. So now I believe I want to go ahead and just run my caps across, joists, rafters, I don't know what you'd call it on this, but caps from here to there, same in the back, and then we'll run the edge band going down. Maybe trim up the angles if needed, if not, we'll just cover it. And then maybe some bracing across the middle and run the roof on. That's it. So I had to step back, think about it for a minute and regroup, because I was winding up with the, going to have to do a lot of wild angles to get this center bracing in. And it was I was making it too complicated. It's supposed to be simple and quick. And I realized this piece right here that I had attached here, at first I attached from side to side. Just pull it out, attach it here on the angled brace on the end. And then I've got a flat spot to lay the roofing. I've got a flat spot to put my center support. And I did the same thing on the front. So I just step back, think about it for a second, and redo what I had done. Basically, I started the wrong way. I started putting these in first. I should have done these. Live and learn for this little thing. So yeah, so step back, got that fixed. Now I need to go get all of the roofing, which is just going to be a bunch of fence boards. Cut them basically in half, but well, not really half, I guess. A little more than half. And then start laying them up here.